a pose with the legs up the wall. So just have the strap nearby somewhere towards one side. And begin by laying down on your back. And then extending the legs away from you. So bringing the body more or less into a 90-degree angle. You can make this as active or as passive as you would like to. So either relaxing the knees, bending into the knees, relaxing the toes, relaxing the arms alongside your body. Or if you want to get right into it, then you can begin by activating the legs, engaging the quadriceps, pressing the heels up, flexing into the toes so the toes are looking down towards your face. Relax the shoulders. You can close your eyes here if you'd like to. And then begin to scan your body. Notice if the back of the head is pressing firmly into the mat. If you're able to pull the chin down closer towards the chest. If you're able to ground the shoulders a little bit more into the mat, into the floor, opening the chest. Bring your attention to your belly. Notice if your lower back is peeling off of the floor. Can you maybe activate into the belly a tiny bit and pull the lower back down? Make sure that when activating this way, the legs don't start to make their way up towards your face. Keep working to keep the legs and the body at about a 90-degree angle. Notice the sensations in your body. Notice your breath. Observe whether the breath is going solely into the lungs, if you only are feeling it in the chest. If that's the case, then begin to direct the breath into your belly. So while pressing the lower back into the floor, expand the top of the belly like a little balloon. And then exhale through the mouth. If it's helpful, you can bring your hands to your belly, creating even more of a connection with this part of the body. Keep directing the breath into the belly. Keep allowing the belly to expand. And exhaling through the mouth. Continue with this breathing pattern, inhaling through the nose, directing the breath into the belly, and then exhaling through the mouth, allowing the belly to pull in a little bit closer towards the lower back, towards the back of the spine. Notice what's happening with your neck and with the rest of the spine. Can you pull the chin in a little bit closer towards the chest again? Can you ground through the shoulders? A couple more breath cycles here. With the next inhalation, slowly bring your hands up towards your rib cage. Allow the breath to go into the belly, expanding the belly, but also now feeling the ribs pull away from one another. Breathing deeply into the diaphragm, continuing to press the lower back into the floor, feeling that activation in the entirety of the spine. And then exhale through the mouth. As you do so, gently press with your hands into your ribs, pushing the ribs closer towards one another. Inhale through the nose, direct the breath into the belly, feel the ribs expanding, relax the shoulders away from the ears, press the upper back firmly into the floor. And exhale through the mouth. Two more like this, inhaling through the nose, directing the breath into the belly, feeling the ribs pressing the hands away from one another, and exhaling through the mouth. One more, inhale through the nose, and exhale through the mouth. Slowly walk the hands up towards your heart, placing one hand on your heart center and the other one on top of it. Relaxing the shoulders, pulling the shoulders away from the ears, pressing the shoulders towards the floor. Continue with the same breathing. So inhaling through the nose, directing the breath into the belly. Feeling the belly expanding, feeling the ribs separating. This time feeling the chest also pressing into your hands. And exhaling through the mouth. As you do so, keep pressing the hands firmly into the heart. Inhaling through the nose, expanding the belly, separating the ribs away from one another, pressing your hands into your heart, feeling the hand pressing back, the heart pressing back rather into the hands. And exhaling through the mouth. Continue here with either this breathing pattern, or if you'd like to start to incorporate the Ujjayi breath, so inhaling in and out through the nose, creating a gentle constriction at the back of the throat in order to generate a little bit more heat in the body. You can do so. Keep directing the breath into the belly, keep feeling the ribs expanding. And working with the breath, allowing the breath to guide you even from here, just right at the beginning of class. Begin to create an intention for yourself for today's practice. This can be the first thing that comes to mind, that comes from the heart. This can be something that you've been toying with for a little bit. And without creating any pressure or any expectations, allow the intention and the breath to move you throughout practice today. We will be working with the collective intention of compassion throughout class today. And that just means that we're going to be creating awareness around certain parts of the body and understanding that each of us have limitations, and not allowing any emotions to get in the way, just breathing through any sensations that you will be experiencing. One more big collective inhalation through the nose. And exhale through the nose or the mouth, your choice. Release the arms alongside your body. If your eyes are closed, then you can keep them closed or you can blink them open right now. And just begin to incorporate a little bit of movement into the feet, rotating the ankles, moving them in circles, keeping the legs relatively active, then moving the circles in opposite directions, working to point the feet and then flex the feet. And then working into your toes, so crunching the toes, spreading them apart from one another. Allowing the breath to guide these even tiny movements in a part of the body that seems kind of far away from us. And then come back with both legs extended up towards the ceiling. Bend into the left knee, place the left foot down onto the floor. The left foot is in line with the left hip. And then here, if you want to use the strap, then just bring it over towards the right side. Bend into the right knee, and either with the strap in the arch of the foot, or your right hand on the outside of your right foot, come into a half happy baby on the right side. So if you are using the strap on the right side, or on the right foot, then place the right hand on the strap. Relax the left arm alongside your body, or bring your left hand to your left hip flexor. Keep the left knee pointing skywards for now. Take an inhalation through the nose, and then as you exhale, begin to bend into the right knee a little bit deeper, keeping that right foot flexed, pressing the right heel up. Work the right knee in towards your right armpit. Notice if your right shoulder is peeling off of the mat. If that's the case, then pull the right shoulder down. This, you'll notice, will help pull the right foot down as well. Keep the belly engaged. Keep pressing the lower back into the floor. Check in what's happening with your neck. Have you started to arch through the upper back? If that's the case, then pull the chin in towards the chest. Inhale through the nose. And exhale, go a little bit deeper, pulling the right foot in just a little bit closer. Inhaling through the nose. And exhaling, bending just a little bit deeper. And you can either stay here for the next 3 breaths, or if you'd like to go a little bit deeper into your hips, begin to drop the left knee over towards the left side. So coming onto the exterior part, onto the outside of the left foot. The left hand can remain where it is, either on your left hip flexor, or if you'd like to, you can extend the left arm out towards the left in line with the shoulder. Continue to work with your breath. Continue to pull the belly in towards the back of the spine, press the lower back into the floor. Make sure you're not shifting over towards one side. We can use our left arm and left hand to help us in this. The tendency might be to kind of shift over towards the right. You can either press the left hand away from you into the floor, or by pressing your left hip down, you'll square the hips off a little bit more manually. Keep grounding the shoulders. Take another inhalation, pull the chin in towards the chest, feel the elongation of the spine. As you exhale, if your left hip is open, then with the help of your left hand, bring the left knee back up through center, press the left big toe into the floor, release the strap or right hand off of the right foot, and then cross the right leg over top of the left. Extend your arms out in line with your shoulders, and then with your exhalation, drop the knees over towards the left side. Maybe you gaze over towards your right fingertips. At any point throughout practice, if you feel that you want to close your eyes in order to take away one of those senses that can sometimes create a bit of a distraction, you can close your eyes and then just feel deeper into your body. Notice where it is that there is some residue tension that's stored. Where can you loosen some of the muscles? Where can you direct your breath? Make sure both of the shoulders are grounded on the floor. The chest is open, pointing up. Another inhalation through the nose. As you exhale, slowly bringing the knees back through center. Keep grounding through the left foot, and then just drop the knees over towards the other side. Gaze comes over towards the left hand. Use the right leg to pull the left knee down a little bit closer towards the floor. If there's any pain in the knees, then back off of the pose a little bit. Both of the shoulders are grounded. Inhale. And exhale, either through the nose or the mouth. Inhale, slowly come back through center with the feet. Extend both legs overhead. Bring the hands alongside your body, palms facing down, flex through the feet, flex through the toes. And then pressing the fingertips of your hands firmly into the floor, begin to lift the hips a little bit off of the floor. Little by little, keep pressing, working the feet over top of the head, coming into a variation of halasana here, plow pose. So the feet don't have to touch the floor. We're working on really extending the hamstrings here. So keep the back as flat as is possible, pressing the hips up. Make sure you're not moving in the neck in order to cause, you don't want to cause any injury in the neck. So the shoulders are what is bearing the weight, and then in this case, the fingertips are also active and pressing into the floor. Another inhalation here. Stay really active in the legs, flex through the toes. And as you exhale, slowly and with control, begin to bring each vertebrae down towards the floor, working the glutes back down. Bend into the right knee, press the right foot into the floor, bend into the left knee. Coming into happy baby on the left side, so either with the strap or without. Each side will feel different, and each one of our bodies is going to feel different. So maybe you use the strap on the last side, but you don't feel like you need to this time, or vice versa. Coming back to the intention, the collective intention of compassion. So just approaching every one of these poses from a place of understanding. And wherever you are, with the exhalation, gently pull the left foot down, working the left knee down towards the floor in the direction of the left armpit. Right hand can be grounding into your right hip flexor, making sure the hips remain squared, or extending the right arm away from you in line with the shoulder. Take an inhalation and exhale. Another inhalation here. As you exhale, if you want to go deeper on this side as well, stay as you are with the left leg. Begin to drop the right knee over towards the right side, coming onto the outside of the right foot. Again, check in, make sure both of the hips are squared, lower back is pressing into the floor, both of the shoulders are pressing into the floor, chest is expanded. One more inhalation and exhalation here. With the next inhalation, with the help of your right hand, if the right knee is open, bring the right foot back onto the floor, right knee looking skywards, interlace the left leg over top of the right, extend the arms away from you, and then begin to drop the knees over towards the right. Gazing towards your left fingertips, again making sure that both of the shoulders are on the floor. Reconnect with your breath. Inhale, slowly bring the legs back through center. And as you exhale, drop the knees over towards the opposite side. Gaze comes over towards the right hand. Releasing any tension that you may be feeling in the inner thighs, in the outer hips, in the knees, in the feet. And with the next inhalation, bring your knees back through center. Extending the legs overhead again, flexing through the toes, pushing the heels up, pressing the heels up towards the sky. Bringing the hands alongside your body if you feel that you need the help of your hands to press you into Halasana. Otherwise, you can extend the arms overhead with the palms facing up. And then begin to lift from the hips, working the feet towards the hands or towards the floor overhead. Make sure you're not causing any tension in your neck. Make sure that the weight is in the shoulders. Try not to look around. Stay active in the legs, stay active in the quadriceps. Keep pulling the inner thighs in towards one another. And wherever you are, we're going to use a tiny bit of momentum to roll ourselves forward, working straight into Navasana or boat pose. So with the exhalation, come up, bringing the weight into your sitting bones, bend into the knees, bring the hands behind the thighs for a moment. Elongate the spine, pull the shoulders away from the ears, and then either staying here with the legs bent, maybe you extend the arms away from you. Connect with the sensations that you're experiencing in your body, especially in the midsection, especially in the core and the hip flexors. Take another inhalation here. As you exhale slowly and with control, drop the feet down towards the floor. Coming into Sukhasana, easy pose, just relaxing the feet. Bring the hands to your knees. As you inhale, elongate the spine. And as you exhale, start working into a circular motion in whichever direction you want to. Just working the chest down, creating kind of cat-cow movement. So as you move back, start to round through the spine, and as you shift the weight forward, begin to open the chest, working the chin down towards the floor. Allow your breath to guide you. You can invite movements of the neck, of the shoulders. You can close your eyes here as well if that feels more comfortable to you, and just work with your own breath. Maybe you stay in one place a little bit longer. With the next inhalation, begin to move into the opposite direction. And continuing with these movements of the spine, walk the hands forward, adjust the legs coming into a tabletop position. Bring the hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips, and just keep working with your breath. Keep working into different movements of the spine. You can now start to invite movements of the hips from side to side. Making sure that the focus is not on how the shapes look, but rather how they feel to you. Keep breathing into the belly. With the next inhalation, come into a neutral spine. Gently blink the eyes open if they've been closed. Bring the toes into the floor. And then begin to arch the spine with the inhalation, gazing forward. Exhale with the toes tucked, rounding through the spine. At the end of the exhalation, bring the knees a couple of inches off of the floor, a couple of centimeters off of the floor. Press the hands into the floor, activate into the belly. Activate into the scapula. Keep the chin tucked in towards the chest. Holding the breath for a moment here. So really activating into the solar plexus, into the midsection. As you inhale, slowly and with control, begin to bring the knees down towards the floor. Take an inhalation, gaze forward, arching through the spine. Exhale, round through the spine. At the end of the breath, holding the breath, raise the knees off of the floor. Again, a little bit maybe lower this time. So working into the quadriceps, pull the inner thighs in towards one another. Keep the belly active. With control, as you inhale, drop the knees. Gaze forward. One more time like this. As you exhale, round through the spine, bring the chin in towards the chest. Holding the breath at the top, raise the knees off of the floor. Activate more into your fingertips. Make sure all of the weight isn't in the wrists. Keep pressing the shoulders away from one another. With control this time, as you exhale, begin to, as you inhale rather, bring the hips up towards the sky, pressing yourself into a downward facing dog. Pedaling the feet, bending into the knees. Continue to work with your breath. With the next inhalation, press the left foot firmly into the floor. Bring the right leg up, coming into a three-legged dog. Square the hips off. Stay active in the right leg. Gaze into the space between the thumbs. Bring the left heel off of the floor. Bend into the right knee. Shift the weight forward. Bring the knee to nose. Inhale, extend, coming into a three-legged dog. Exhale, come high onto the left toes, shift the weight forward, bring the right knee in towards the nose. Round through the spine, stay here for the inhalation, gaze into the space between the fingertips. As you exhale with control, drop the right foot down in between the hands. Bring the left foot a little bit back behind you. Drop the left knee down onto the floor, keeping the toes tucked or untucked. Bend into the right knee. Inhale, bring the arms up and overhead, elongating through the spine. Staying active in the belly, making sure you're not pressing the belly forward. So tuck the tailbone a little bit down. Activate, feel the pelvis moving down towards the floor. You can even bring the hands down onto the waist if you want to kind of manually adjust. One more inhalation. As you exhale, bring the left hand down towards the left side. You can use a block here if you'd like to. Extend the right arm overhead towards the left. So creating a really big expansion on the right side. A little bit of a compression on the left. Work the right elbow towards the back, so you're working to really open into the chest. Check in with your right knee. Make sure it's not splaying out towards the right side. The knee remains in line with the ankle. One more inhalation. As you exhale, bring your right hand down in line with your left. Bring the left toes off of the floor. Bring the left toes back behind you. Walk the left hand towards the back of the mat, working to straighten through the right leg. So coming into a variation of a side plank here. Left hand in line with the left knee. Left knee in line with the right heel. So the right toes are pointing away from you right now. Extend the right arm overhead. Pull the tailbone slightly in. Keep pressing the hips a little bit further forward. Again, feel the expansion in the entire right side body. As you exhale, bring the right hand down in front of you. Rotate the right foot so now it's parallel with the front of the mat. Drop your hips down towards your left heel. Walk both hands out in front of you. So the exterior part of the right foot is really working its way into the floor. The entirety of the right leg is active. Take an inhalation, gaze forward, elongate the spine. And as you exhale, work towards dropping the forehead down towards the floor.
Inhale, elongate the spine, gaze forward. Maybe you walk the fingertips a tiny bit further forward. Keep pressing the left hip down towards the heel. And as you exhale, bowing the head down towards the floor. Inhale, coming all the way back up, raising the hips off of the heel. Rotate the right foot now so the right toes are facing the front of the mat. Keep the left knee as is, bring the right hand to the inside of the right foot. Press the right knee into the right tricep, and then extend the left arm overhead. So the left knee isn't underneath of the left hip, it's a little bit back behind it. So kind of like a mini warrior two with the legs, but we're on our left knee. Keep extending the left arm overhead. Keep pressing the right shoulder or right tricep into the right knee. So you're feeling this expansion happening in the inner right thigh. Pull the tailbone a little bit down and forward. Stay active in the belly. Another inhalation, gazing at the left fingertips. As you exhale, bring the left hand down. Bring the left toes towards the back of the mat, bringing the left toes into the floor, raising the left knee. Walk the right foot a tiny bit out towards the right, and then as you inhale, bring the right arm overhead. Again, keeping the right knee in line with the right ankle. Press the hips slightly down, gaze towards the right fingertips. An inhalation here. As you exhale, cactus the right arm, begin to gaze back behind you, creating an even deeper twist here. Maybe you can gaze towards your left foot. Inhale, extend the right arm. Exhale, press the right hand into the floor in front of the right foot or onto a block. Get light on the left foot. Bring the left foot up. So coming into an L shape here with the legs. Flex through the left toes. Find your point of focus here. So this can be something that's on the floor that allows you to really focus on activating into the body here, activating the belly, flexing into the left toes, staying really active in the left leg. Press the right big toe firmly into the floor. Bring your left hand to your left waist, to your left hip. Either stay here or begin to swivel the hips open, stacking the left hip on top of the right. Left knee would now be looking over towards the side. Right knee is pointing forward. Coming into half moon. So in this pose, it's really important that the belly remains active. This will help us stay balanced. If you feel that you are ready to maybe gaze up towards your left elbow and you have the balance, then you can begin to extend the left arm as well. Take another inhalation here. As you exhale, bring the left hand back down onto the floor in line with the right. Square the hips off. Stay active in the hips. Keep pressing the right foot firmly into the floor. Bend into the left knee, round through the spine. Bring the left knee to nose. Inhale, extend, gaze forward, elongate the spine. And exhale, bend. One more. Inhale, extend, gaze forward. And exhale, bend. And then keeping this compression here, working the left knee really close in towards the chest. Begin to bring yourself all the way up to standing, bringing the left knee with you. Weight is in the right leg. Extend the arms overhead. Flex through the left toes. The more you're active in the left leg and in the left toes, the more you'll be able to stay balanced. Keep active in the arms as well. Pull the fingertips up. Pull the navel in towards the spine. One more inhalation like this. As you exhale, bring your right hand to the outside of your left thigh. Extend the left arm back behind you. Stay here or maybe gaze towards your left fingertips. Stay active with the left foot. Pull the shoulders away from the ears. Elongate the spine. If you find yourself falling out of the pose, it's okay, just come back into it. The more we practice these movements, the more they start to feel more natural to the body. One more inhalation like this. As you exhale, bring the left arm forward. Extend the left leg back behind you. Extend the right arm back behind you. So a variation of a kind of a combination of an airplane and warrior 3. Right arm back behind, hips are squared, left toes are pointing down towards the floor. Keep the left arm extended. Inhale here, work the left arm closer towards the left ear. As you exhale, bend into that right knee. With control, bring the left toes down towards the floor, coming into a crescent lunge. Bend deeper into the right knee, bring the right hand to the back of the left thigh, extend the left arm overhead, coming into an exalted crescent. Another inhalation, maybe you gaze up towards your left fingertips, pull the inner thighs in, activate the glutes. As you exhale, extend the left arm out in front of you, bring the right arm back behind you, coming into a twisted crescent. Stay here, pull the shoulders away from the ears, or maybe you gaze towards your right fingertips. Inhale. Exhale, bring the hands together in front of your heart. Rotate the back foot now, so transitioning through kind of a goddess pose. Toes pointing away from one another, heels pulling in, hands in front of the heart, bend into the knees. Make sure that the shoulders are in line with the hips. So if you feel that the butt is kind of pushing out, then pull the tailbone in and slightly down. Elongate through the spine. One more inhalation. As you exhale, begin to straighten through the right leg, bringing the right foot parallel with the front of the mat. Bend a little bit deeper into the left knee. Bring the head forward, hips slightly back, so kind of a baby skandasana, while pressing deeply into the right foot, the exterior part of the right foot. You can keep the hands at heart center, you can bring the hands out in front of you, lowering the head down towards the floor. Inhale. Exhale, slowly straighten through both legs. Pivot the back toes. Turn the hips so that they're facing the front of the mat. Coming into a warrior 1. So in this position, in this pose, in this asana, what we really want is for the hips to be squared. So you can bring your hands to your hips and manually pull the left hip forward. If this means that the back heel comes off of the floor, then that's totally fine. You're working towards pressing the back heel into the floor, but without compensating for the hips being open. So both of the hips are facing forward. The tailbone is slightly pulling down. You really feel this in the left hip flexor and the left psoas, the front of the left thigh. Either micro bending into the left knee, maybe the left heel is up. Work towards pressing the left heel down. Stay bent in the right leg. We can have in this pose as well heel to heel alignment, or you can walk the feet apart a little bit. So working the right foot over towards the right and the left foot towards the left. This will also depend on your own personal hips. Pull the navel in, elongate the spine, extend the arms overhead. Inhale. Keep pulling that left hip forward, right hip back. Exhale, bend into the right knee a little bit more. Inhale, elongate the spine, pull the belly in. Work that left heel closer towards the floor. This can just be kind of a search for the sensation. As you exhale, straighten through the right leg. Press the right toes firmly into the floor. Bring the hands down to frame the right foot. So sort of a pyramid pose with the legs. You can keep pressing the left heel down towards the floor or begin to come high onto the toes. Make sure again the hips are squared. You can check this by placing your hand on your sacrum. making sure that it's really flat. Gaze forward with the inhalation. As you exhale, bend into the left knee. With control, bring the left knee all the way down onto the floor. Flex through the right toes, coming into a half split. Inhale as you gaze forward, elongate the spine. Hips remain squared. As you exhale, start bowing the head down towards the right knee. Stay really active in the right quadriceps. This helps protect the right hamstrings. Inhale, elongate the spine, gaze forward. And exhale. One more. Inhale, elongate the spine, gaze forward. And exhale, bowing down. Inhale, coming up, bending into the right knee. Press the left hand into the floor, underneath the left shoulder. Tuck the back toes, bring the back knee off of the floor. Extend the right arm overhead, returning back into that twisted lunge variation. Inhale. As you exhale, really press into your left fingertips. Come onto the outside of your left foot. Stack the feet on top of one another, coming into a side plank. So in side plank, it's a really tough pose to do because it uses muscles of our core and our outer thighs that maybe we don't feel like we have to use regularly. But you really want to work towards pressing the left toe, in this case because we're on the left side, into the floor. As you press the left big toe firmly into the floor, you'll notice that you have more control over the hips and you can press the hips higher up. You also don't want to be pressing all the weight into your left wrist. Really activate into your fingertips and push into the shoulder. So activate the entire arm to take the weight off of just the wrist. And then begin to extend the right arm overhead. You can keep the feet stacked. You can float the right leg up. One more inhalation here. Legs are really active. This takes a lot of the weight off of the core. As you exhale, bring the right hand down. Bring all 10 toes to face the front of the mat. Shift the weight forward. Bring the knees down onto the floor. Keeping the toes tucked, gently drop the belly, bend into the elbows. Bring the chest and chin down, gaze forward. Press the tops of the feet into the floor as you inhale, coming forward. Exhale, bring the forehead down onto the floor. Interlace the hands behind your back. Open the feet as wide as the mat. Press the tops of the feet into the floor. With the inhalation, pull the hands away from you, gazing forward. Exhale, slowly drop the forehead down to the floor. Maybe you bring one ear down. Relax the feet for a moment. Relax the legs. With the next inhalation, press the tops of the feet into the floor. Activate the quadriceps so much so that you feel the kneecaps peeling off of the floor. Bring the forehead onto the mat. Extend the arms interlaced behind you and gaze forward. Pull the shoulders away from the ears. Keep really pressing the feet into the floor. And as you exhale, slowly drop the forehead down. Bring the hands underneath your shoulders. Bring the feet parallel to one another. Tuck the toes. Transition through a plank pose into a downward facing dog. Inviting as much or as little movement as you want to. Returning back to the intention that we set, whatever your personal intention was or our collective intention of working in compassion. Noticing the maybe difference of sensations that you're feeling from the first downward facing dog to this one. noticing your breath, noticing where your mind is at. And taking these moments that we're on the mat in a little bit of stillness to check in with how you're feeling versus checking out and thinking about the external world. One more deep inhalation through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Inhale, press the right foot firmly into the floor, bring the left leg up, coming into a three-legged dog. Bend into the left knee, shift the weight forward, bring the knee to nose. Inhale, extend the left leg. Exhale, shift the weight forward, coming high onto the right toes, bring the left knee towards your nose, gaze into the space between your fingertips. Stay here for the inhalation, puff up the back of the heart. As you exhale with control, drop the left foot in between your hands. Bring the right foot a little bit back behind you, drop the right knee. Keeping the toes tucked or untucked, it's up to you. As you inhale, bring the arms up and overhead. Maybe you check in for a moment first with your hips. Notice if the right hip is pulling back. You can always do this at any point in practice, obviously. If you don't want to raise the arms overhead, you can bring the hands to your waist and just kind of notice what's going on. Pull the tailbone slightly down. Start to feel the extension happening in the right hip flexor. Feel the chest expanding. Pull the shoulders away from the ears. One more inhalation. As you exhale, drop the right hand down towards the floor. Maybe it touches the floor or the block. You can also just leave the hand floating. And then extend the left arm over towards the side. Make sure that the left knee isn't splaying out towards the left side. Make sure you're not leaning too far forward. So you want to kind of stay in line. So Erica, you can move back a little bit. Like bring your shoulders. Your right hand would more or less be in line with your hips versus forward. So then the extension is still really in the right hip flexor as you're leaning over towards the right side. So it's the entire left side body, the right hip flexor, the right psoas. You can stay active in the glutes as well if you'd like to here. Another inhalation. As you exhale, bring the left hand down towards the right. Bring the right toes up off of the floor. Rotate the right foot back behind you. Begin to straighten through the left leg. Bring the right hand in line with the right knee. So we're creating a straight line from our right wrist to the right knee to the left heel. The left toes are pointing forward. Inhale, bring the left arm overhead, either in line with your nose, or if you'd like to, you can create this really straight line coming from your left toes all the way through your left fingertips. Make sure you're not sinking down into the right wrist. So keep active in the right fingertips. Stay active in the shoulder. Pull the tailbone slightly down and forward. In front of your right knee, both of the hands towards the front, and then rotate the left foot. So now the entire left foot is parallel with the front of the mat. Drop the right hip down towards the right heel. Gaze out in front of you with your inhalation. And as you exhale, gently bowing down. Connecting with your breath here. Take an inhalation through the nose. And exhale through the mouth or the nose. One more like that, gazing forward with your inhalation. Exhaling, maybe walking the fingertips a tiny bit further forward. Inhale, coming back up, bringing the hips back up with you, walking the hands towards the left foot, rotating the back foot, tucking the back toes, bending into the left knee. Bring the right hand in line with the right shoulder. Bring the back knee off of the floor. As you inhale, extend the left arm. Gaze towards your left fingertips. As you exhale, bend into the left elbow, coming into a cactus shape with the left hand. Gaze towards your right heel. Inhale, extend the left arm. Bring the left hand in line with your left big toes, but further out in front. With control, get really light on the right foot, coming into an L shape with the legs. Walk the right hand in line with the left. The hips are squared, right toes are pointing down, active in the legs. Inhale as you gaze forward, flattening the spine. As you exhale, bend into the right knee. Round through the spine, bring the knee to nose. Inhale, extend, gaze forward. You're more than welcome to use blocks here as well if the floor feels far today. Exhale, rounding. Inhale, extend, gaze forward. Exhale, rounding, creating that really strong compression here. Find your balance in your left leg. Bring yourself all the way up to standing, bringing the right knee with you. Extend the arms overhead. Find your balance here. Stay flexed in the right toes, really active in the right leg. Make sure that the right hip isn't coming up. Try to keep the hips in line with one another. We're working on lifting the right knee from the hip flexor, not from the hips. Extend the arms a little bit more overhead. Stay active in the fingertips. As you exhale, bring the left hand to the outside of the right thigh. Extend the right arm back behind you. Making sure the hips are still facing the front of the mat, rotating into the spine. Maybe you gaze towards your right fingertips. Inhale, elongate the spine a little bit more. If you're feeling like you're falling out of this pose a lot, another option is to activate the mula bandha. So pulling the perineum up helps to activate all of those really deep, stabilizing core muscles. Pull the shoulders away from the ears. One more inhalation. As you exhale, extend the right arm out in front of you, right leg back behind you, left arm back behind you. So coming into this variation of an airplane warrior 3. Make sure that the right hip goes a little bit lower so that it remains in line with the left. Bring the right arm in line with your ears. Another inhalation. As you exhale, bend into that left knee. Find the floor with your right toes with control. Bring the left hand to the back of your right thigh, opening the heart, extending the right arm back behind you, coming into a exalted crescent. Maybe you gaze towards your right fingertips. Another inhalation. Exhale, bringing the hands through heart center. Rotate the back leg, coming into a goddess pose here. This time, instead of working towards really opening the toes away from one another, walk them in a little bit more. So coming into a horse stance. So basically the knees are a little bit closer in. The toes are about 45 degrees. And then pull the tailbone down, bend into the knees this way. You can bring your hands to your thighs. Bend into the knees a little bit more. As you exhale, begin to drop the right shoulder towards the center. Staying really active in the legs here. Keep, as much as you're pushing with your right hand into your inner thigh, push with your inner thigh into your hand. So that connection is really strong. Inhale, coming back through center. Elongating the spine. And exhale, coming towards the other side, working the left shoulder down. Again, as much as you're pressing with your left hand to your inner thigh, press back with that inner thigh. Really feeling the outer left thigh turn on. Inhale, coming back. Now extend the left leg, rotate the left foot so it's parallel with the front of the mat. Keep the right foot as is. Bend a little bit deeper into the right knee. Hands can be at heart center or begin to walk the hands out in front of you. Work the hips back. So we're not sinking down into the bent leg. We're really active in the leg. You should really feel the quadriceps quite fired up here as you keep pressing the hips towards the back and walking the hands forward or pulling the crown of the head forward. One more inhalation. Exhale, slowly straightening through both legs. Rotate the back foot a little bit more into like a 45-degree angle towards the front of the mat, opening the left toes, pointing them towards the front. Bringing the hands to your waist for a moment, we're going to go into warrior one. So again, depends on your hips. You can walk the right foot a little bit closer towards the front of the mat. You can walk the left foot towards the left side. You can work towards having heel to heel alignment. In any case, you really want to make sure that the right hip is really pressing forward. So the hips are in line. And then make sure that the belly isn't just falling forward and you're creating an arch in the lower back. You're pulling the tailbone down. Then you bend into the left knee and maybe extend the arms overhead. Inhale, elongate the spine. And exhale. Pull the shoulders away from the ears. Inhale, begin to straighten through the left knee. Maybe you come high up on the right toes. And then drop the hands down to frame the left foot, coming into either the variation of pyramid pose with the right heel lifted or still pressing the right heel down. Gaze forward as you elongate the spine. Exhale, bowing down. Inhale as you gaze forward. With control, come high onto the right toes if you're not already there. Gently drop the right knee down onto the floor. Walk the hands underneath the shoulders. Flex through the left toes, coming into a half split. Adho Hanumanasana. So stay really flexed in the left toes. The bottom of the foot is trying to look up at you. Inhale, gaze forward, elongate the spine. And exhale, bowing down, bringing the forehead in the direction of the left knee. Inhale, extend. Exhale, bowing down. You can, if you want to, maybe start walking the hands forward a little bit more. Inhale, elongating the spine, gazing forward. And exhaling, bowing down. Inhaling, gazing forward, this time bending into the left knee. Bringing the right toes onto the floor, bringing the right knee off of the floor. Press the right hand underneath the right shoulder. As you inhale, extend the left arm. And then from here, come onto the outside of your right foot. Stack the feet on top of one another. And come into your variation of side plank. So again, it's important that the weight isn't just pressing into your wrist. You really want to be pressing yourself away from the floor with your arms. So the fingertips are active. The weight is distributed throughout the entirety of the hand, the palm. You're pushing yourself away from the floor, so the shoulder's really engaged. The right big toe is pressing into the floor. This allows for the hips to press higher. Check in what's going on with your tailbone. Are you kind of pressing yourself back? If that's the case, work the hips a little bit further forward. Active in the glutes. In plank pose, we really need to activate in the legs, in the glutes, and the core, in the entirety of the spine in order to stay in this pose and stay relatively comfortable. If you'd like to go deeper, you can begin to raise the left leg off of the right. One more breath. As you exhale, gently bring the left hand down in line with the right. Come high onto the toes. Shift the weight forward, either transitioning through Ashtanga Namaskar with knees, chest, chin, or working through Chaturanga, bending the elbows. Inhaling into upward facing dog or cobra. Exhaling into downward facing dog. Inhale through the nose. And exhale through the mouth. Inhale through the nose. And exhale through the mouth. One more like this, inhaling through the nose, pulling the tailbone slightly up, releasing any tension in the shoulders, and exhaling through the mouth. Inhale as you gaze forward, come high onto the toes. With control, bring the knees all the way down onto the floor. Opening the knees as wide as the mat, bringing the big toes to touch, and then bringing the hips towards the top of the heels, extending the arms overhead, coming into child's pose with the legs wide. Noticing your breath. Beginning to scan your body in this pose. Notice if the tops of the feet could use a little bit more relaxation. If the shins and the knees could relax a little bit more. Maybe releasing any tension that you're holding in the quadriceps or the hips. Anything that you may be holding on to in your belly, allowing the belly to just hang heavy between the legs. Noticing if there's anything in the chest and shoulder region that you could let go of, down towards your elbows and your fingertips. Releasing any tension in the jaw or in the forehead. With the next inhalation, begin to gaze forward. Walk the hands towards you. Bring the hips off of the heels. Bring the knees parallel to one another. Without letting the knees touch, keeping them about hips width distance apart. Tuck the toes and come all the way up onto your knees. We're going to be working into camel pose. So if you have camel pose in your practice, then you're more than welcome to go there now. And I will be guiding you through the various steps to get into it. So the first variation we're going to do is with the hands on the back of the hips, with the palms facing down, so kind of holding the glutes. The hands are on either side of the sacrum, more or less, kind of where that crease is, where the back and the glutes meet. Make sure that the knees aren't
together. That's important. You want them a little bit separate, and then the feet are an extension of the knees back behind you. With the hands on the glutes, you can kind of notice what's happening if you're pushing the belly forward. If that's the case, then manually pull the tailbone slightly down. You start to immediately feel the expansion happening in the quadriceps. And as you do this, you start to automatically as well engage the belly. Pull the elbows in towards one another. This will start to help open the chest. And then staying with that really active entire lower half of the body, with the quadriceps active and the tailbone slightly pulling down, the chest is open, just begin to gaze up. So we want to be going up, but as opposed to going forward and back. So pulling the chest up, keep your gaze up, up, up. Slowly start gazing a little bit back behind you. Press the toes into the floor. Active in the glutes, active in the quadriceps, pulling the inner thighs in towards one another. Notice what's happening with your breath. Notice if there's any tension in the lower back. It is a back bend, so we are going to feel something in our lower back, but we have to be able to differentiate between a pain and an expansion or a movement into a new pose. And as long as we have the necessary activation of the glutes, quadriceps, the core, we're able to open up this way. If it's uncomfortable to let the head drop back behind you, you can keep the chin tucked in. And then just continue to work from opening the heart by pressing the chest up and then slightly back. Keep working with your breath. Bring the chin in towards the chest if it's not already there. With control, bring yourself back up, releasing the arms, bringing the tops of the feet onto the floor, allowing yourself to rest here for a moment. Maybe closing your eyes, bringing your hands with the palms facing up on top of your thighs. Returning back to your intention or to the collective intention of working with compassion. So we're going to go into camel pose once more. And if you want to go a bit deeper and you feel that the body wants it, then of course go deeper. But if you feel that the mind is telling you to go deeper for whatever reason, maybe back off a little bit. With the next inhalation, blink the eyes open. Come back up onto the knees. Make sure that the knees are parallel in line with the hips, tucking the toes. Bringing the hands towards the lower back. Opening the chest, pulling the elbows in towards one another. Pulling the tailbone down, start to notice the activation in the belly. And then begin to pull the heart up. As you pull the heart up, you'll notice that the upper back starts to go backwards a little bit. Keep working the elbows in towards one another. And either stay here or bring one hand to each ankle, if it's in your practice. And then gently begin to press the heart slightly further forward. Take an inhalation through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Inhale again through the nose and exhale. One more breath. As you exhale slowly with control, wherever your head is, keep it there. Just bring yourself back up, lowering the hips down onto the heels, closing the eyes, resting here for a moment. Before we go into any counter poses, just give your blood a moment to start recirculating naturally.
With the next inhalation, open your eyes, walk the hands forward, go through a couple rounds of cat-cow, maybe incorporating movements of the hips from side to side, movements of the neck as we did at the beginning of class. Allowing your breath to guide your movements. Maybe staying in one pose a little bit longer. And then with the next inhalation, cross the feet behind you. Walk the hands towards the back of the mat. Extending the legs out in front of you. Slowly bringing yourself all the way down onto your back. Bringing both of the feet off of the floor this time, bending into both knees. Bringing your hands to the outside of your feet, coming into Happy Baby. If grabbing the outside of your feet is inaccessible today, then you can bring your hands to your ankles or to your calves. Whichever variation you're in, try to stay grounded in your back, in your entire spine. So pressing the lower back onto the floor, keeping the chin slightly tucked in towards the chest. You can invite movement from side to side here if you'd like to. You can work towards extending one or both legs. The movements are nice, they're like a massage for the lower back. Moving with your own breath. And once you're ready to come into a bit of stillness, bring yourself back into the Happy Baby with the heels pointing up. Notice what's happening with your shoulders if they're peeling off of the floor. If that's the case, can you pull the shoulders towards the floor, opening the chest, and then notice how that immediately pulls the legs down, creating a bit more of a compression in the inner thighs. Inhale through the nose and exhale. Inhale. And exhale, slowly release the feet, bringing the legs to a 90-degree angle, extending the arms away from you. Begin to drop the knees over towards the left side. You can stay here in this reclined twist, or maybe bring the right knee up a little bit higher. Walk the left foot back towards the right. Maybe your right hand comes to your left foot. Maybe your left hand comes to the outer part of your right thigh. Whichever option you're choosing, make sure you're able to stay grounded in your shoulders so the chest is staying open. The twist isn't happening from the hips, it's happening from the spine. So the right knee doesn't necessarily have to be touching the floor. If you do have a block, it's really nice to put a block underneath your right knee right here, to just kind of rest in this pose for a moment. Slowly unwind from the pose, bring the left knee underneath of the right, bring the knees back through center. And as you exhale, gently drop the knees over towards the opposite side. Staying in the reclined pose with the arms extended away from you, or maybe if you want to go a bit deeper, returning back to that variation of bringing the right foot out towards the left side, maybe grabbing the foot with your left hand, and then with your right hand pressing into the outer left thigh.
Again, making sure both of the shoulders remain grounded on the floor. Chest just stays open. Breathe into any tension that you may be feeling in your inner thighs, in your belly. Even though we are in a twist, try to direct the breath into your belly. Feel the belly expanding. With the next inhalation, release the legs if you're holding on to it. Bring the knees back through center. Interlace your arms around your legs. Bring your chin in towards your knees, creating a small egg shape here. Breathe deeply into the belly. And as you exhale, release the head towards the mat. Release the legs away from you, extending the legs, extending the arms, closing the eyes if you'd like to, for the final pose for Shavasana. Taking the time in Shavasana to reconnect with your breath if you feel that that connection was lost throughout practice. Noticing the breath as it enters your body. Slowly with the next inhalation, begin to invite movements into your ankles and wrists, moving in your fingers and toes. Extending the arms overhead, stretching from the toes all the way through the fingertips. As you exhale, bend into the knees, slowly walk the feet up towards your sitting bones. Dropping the knees over towards one side. And slowly pressing yourself up into a seated position. Bringing your hands together in front of your heart. Taking an inhalation through the nose, directing the breath into the belly, feeling the belly expanding. Exhale through the mouth. Inhaling through the nose, elongating the spine. With the exhalation, we'll close class by chanting the mantra Om. Take an inhalation through the nose and exhale. Thank you. Gracias. Namaste. Thank you.